Yo, what's going on, guys? We are back for another Chainsaw Man chapter, and Fami is up to something in this one, I swear. So we can just get right in it with chapter 135, titled Sentimental Drive. That's a good little rhyme, too. I like that one. But we basically start off with Asa in the aftermath of the fake Chainsaw Man announcing that he is Chainsaw Man and how there's going to be more people wanting to join the church and all that stuff. But Asa, she's talking to herself. She's sort of talking to Yoru, too. But she's like, man, Chainsaw Man definitely could not be this dude. He's too, like, nice looking and, like, regal, while she knows who the Chainsaw Man is. Like, she knows it. She doesn't know it's Denji, but she knows how he acts. Like, he's too much of a piece of shit. Like, this guy cannot be the Chainsaw Man. He's too nice. But Yoru, she's like, is that Chainsaw Man really your knight in shining armor? Like, do you really like this dude? Yoru's like, well, he did save your life, but I need to kill this man. Like, how could you fall for anybody and it has to be the Chainsaw Man? The man I need to kill. And Asa's like, I don't like him. He saves me all the time, like a few times. And I love how Yoru is just sitting eating a sandwich in the background, so we know she's in control of the body. Like, I don't know why Asa's just sitting in the background, like why she's just not in control of her body, but I guess they take turns, maybe? No, but Yoru's eating a sandwich in the background. She's talking about, you fall for men too easily, Asa. And Asa's like, Yoru, are you in a good mood or something? Like, anytime I talk about the Chainsaw Man or talk good about him, you always go crazy. And I think this part's pretty funny because Yoru's like, well, war is nigh. And that's just the translation, but she's like, war is near, my friend. It's going to be starting soon. Because, like, all of the gravitational pulls have been switched around. At least when the Falling Devil was around, gravity just started going crazy all around the world. So a bunch of people are in, like, they're poor now. She's saying these countries are poor now. And what do people do when they need more money? They go to war. And I mean, obviously, that's just normal human psychology and all that stuff. We always go to war when we need something. And at the end of the day, the more that war happens, the stronger our war devil gets. So it's just like, it's all good for me these days. I don't got to really worry about nothing. I'm just going to get stronger just by shit happening. This apocalypse is just going to make me, at the end of the day, more powerful. So Asa, she's like, if you get your strength back, what's the need to go kill the Chainsaw Man? Because if we remember all the way back, she wants to kill the Chainsaw Man, make him vomit up nukes and other dangerous devils and concepts, so that she can use these weapons against, like, I guess anybody or just whoever she wants. But Yoru's like, of course I need to kill him. Like, once I get my full strength, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna do the deed, bro. Like, also, you must be stupid or something. Like, get your head out of the clouds, bro. Like, forget he ever saved you, because I got my shit going on. And obviously, Yoru sort of holds this thing over Asa's head where, like, I can kill you at any second, to be honest. Like, I spared you so that, you could do the social interaction thing for me, even though Asa's terrible at social interactions. Asa's like, oh gosh, okay. And she thinks back, and we get this really cool panel of, like, all the times that Chainsaw Man saved her. And it's just like, it's really cool because all the stuff's already interlinked and all that stuff. It just looks good. It just looks good. But this is so funny because Yoru, she's like, no flashbacks. No, don't think about him. And Asa's like, how can I? These feelings just well up. And she's like, don't think. Yoru's like, do not think. Just stop. And then the best part of the chapter, the reason the chapter is named Sentimental Drive is because Asa, she creates this poem in her head called Sentimental Drive. It literally says written by Asa Mitake. So I've seen some stuff on Twitter and social media about how Fujimoto depicts Asa as like a normal teenage girl with like social anxiety super well. And I just think Asa is just one of those girls, definitely, maybe, probably on the spectrum in some way, because this girl wrote a whole poem. I'll read the whole thing. And it's crazy because this had to have been written like somewhat recently, because she's talking about a chainsaw bike and like, bro, how, like, she must be into fanfics. She has to be. But it's like the day we went on our first motorcycle ride, I felt your body heat for the very first time. Your head was a chainsaw. Yet I couldn't deny that warmth was a human of someone that was alive. Like, it sort of got some bars. In retrospective, every time you save my life, my body's cold as can be, as frozen as ice. A little bit of a bar again. But she says, like, although I'm doomed to always end up alone, you always come to rescue me. That much I know. sort of bars, but but this panel's so funny because she's like, no, like, no, I don't want to think about it. And obviously these memories aren't like something she's like pulling at like actively. They're just like happening because, you know, she's thinking about Chainsaw Man and all that stuff. And she thinks back to the poem that she wrote about him. And I love how Yoru, she's like, don't recite this like embarrassing poem. And Asa's like, it's a poetry reading, okay? But I love it because there's like, Yoru's going hard on Asa. She's like, stop thinking about Chainsaw Man and your romantic feelings because I'm about to kill him. And that's probably going to be a big problem for you at some point. But a really fun thing to just realize, and I just realized it, is Fujimoto forgot to draw Yoru's scars. And he does this often. I'm not sure if it's just an accident, which it probably was, because most of the time it is. And then it gets fixed like in the volume or just later on. Because I can see her eyes, and I was like questioning, I was like, hold up, what? Is this Asa talking? There's no scars. And you can clearly see her eyes are the War Devil eyes. And even though she doesn't have the scars, it just like, it threw me off for a second. I was like, hold up, what? But Fujimoto definitely does this a few times, and I'm pretty sure he's even commented about it, like in author comments or something like that. But sometimes he does forget stuff, and we just gotta let it slide, man. He's been throwing out heat for us, but this chapter keeps going on with Fami just appearing, and she just starts talking to Yoru. She's like, "Yo, are you planning to eat that?" And they're all like, "What? How'd you get in here?" And Fami's like, "Yo, are you gonna eat that?" And then they're like, what? The door was locked. How'd you get in here? And she's like, can I eat this? Fami, why are you here? And she's like, can I eat this? And she just keeps going. She's like, can I eat this? Can I eat this food? That's all she cares about. I mean, I think a real like big role of her like character is food. She has to starve people to control them, or that's just what we know. She may have been lying. We don't really know, but we know that she likes to eat food because she was talking about how she doesn't want pizza and Chinese food to disappear. So she likes her fair array of dishes. And I think that's why the Falling Devil was sort of a chef, or at least why she picked the Falling Devil, because we know that she was controlling the Falling Devil the whole time. And like maybe she's like, you know, I like you. You're sort of a chef, so I'll just pull you out. Make me some good food. Also, if you guys are enjoying the Chainsaw Man content, want new chapter reviews each week and more videos in general, just please subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. Back to the video. And either way, this whole scene is just funny and comedic because Asa and Yoru, they're both like up and like, yo, what are you doing? Like they got like kung fu stances. They're about to go fight. And then Fami, she's like, I'm here to grant your wishes. Because I'm not sure how she heard all this. She might have been stalking them. But she's like, I can grant your wishes, man. Like, you want to help Chainsaw Man, and then you also want to kill Chainsaw Man. I can drop a knowledge bomb on y'all. But can I look in your fridge real quick? I just love that. Like, the entire time, the only thing Fami cares about is food. But she's also here, you know, to do whatever she's going to do. And she's stirring up some plans, for sure. But I also love how every time we see her, her head's just like tilted. I guess it would be this way. But like her head's just like tilted to the side all the time. And I'm just like, is this a character quirk? Probably. It's weird. It makes you like think of like those dolls that like have their like heads to the side or whatever. It just makes her look a little creepy. And I think that's probably why she has that weird crick in her neck. Or maybe her neck just hurts. Like maybe she got like a stiff neck. She has to keep it like this. Either way, Asa takes control of the body. She wakes up basically. She closes her eyes, wakes up, and we see the scars fade away. And she's like, how? Like, how are you going to be able to grant my wish to like keep the Chainsaw Man alive and then also have Yoru be able to kill him? And then we get a whole spiel of text. And this is when I knew, oh, this is another setup chapter. But this is a good one. This is a good one in my opinion, because she's like, you know, at this moment, the Chainsaw Man, he can't really fight devils right now. He gave up because, you know, Denji wants to protect Nayuta. He doesn't want her to die, and he's taking Yoshida's threats like seriously. So she's like, you know, he's not fighting devils right now. We know that. And like, he just wants to lead an ordinary life. That's the only thing he's doing right now. And then Faye was like, the problem is that Chainsaw Man's own heart won't allow him to like stop like fighting devils, because we know again, and I really want to know where Fami got this information. Like, how can she just tell what Denji wants and stuff? Maybe her and Nayuta can like communicate some way, but she knows an awful lot. Like, maybe she's reading the manga too. I'm not sure, but she's talking about how his heart does not allow him to stop being the Chainsaw Man. And of course, Denji's like, he's contemplating like life. He's like, he was going through a huge like turmoil, and he was throwing a tantrum basically about how he didn't want to stop being the Chainsaw Man, but he didn't want Nayuta to get hurt. So he's like, his heart is like torn in both ways. But I'm pretty sure he won't turn into the Chainsaw Man anytime soon, unless he needs to protect himself or Nayuta. But she keeps talking about Fami. Like, even weakling devils can become really strong by just eating another devil that was stronger. So like, a lot of devils are going to be coming at Denji because he has that Chainsaw Man heart in him. And that is really strong. It'll make whatever devil that eats him insanely strong. So many of the church followers are just trying to kill as many devils as possible to create a safe place for the Chainsaw Man. And they're doing this obviously for the fake Chainsaw Man, but in Fami's like mind, because I think she's in control of this entire thing, they're basically doing it for Denji, so that Denji doesn't get hunted anymore, and then he can be, just Denji. He doesn't need to be the Chainsaw Man anymore. But they're basically talking about how he won't have to fight anymore, and then if everybody forgets about the Chainsaw Man, he won't be strong anymore. Because nobody will be afraid of him, and nobody will acknowledge his strength for being able to take out all these devils. And we get to see this come into play near the end of the chapter, which it's sort of halfway through right now, which I love this. We get a full chapter with like 20 plus pages, so that's a W. No double pages though, so that's sort of sad. But we don't really need any because like, this is just text-based chapter. There's nothing really big to be shown. But either way, Fami, she keeps talking about like, do you guys want to join the Chainsaw Man Church and help like protect the Chainsaw Man? And Asa's like, why would you want me to do this? Like, even though I do want to protect the Chainsaw Man, like, why should I? And she's like, someone who's been saved should return the favor, shouldn't they? And Asa kept talking about how she's been saved so many times. She feels a lot of this guilt over being saved by Denji, or the Chainsaw Man at least, because she doesn't know it's Denji. But Yoru takes over again. She's like, save Chainsaw Man? Like, are you fucking kidding me, bro? Even if Asa accepts, I refuse. And I love this. Like, Yoru, she stays her ground. Like, she knows she ain't gonna let her sister or bully her at all. Like, but Fami, she's starting to reveal some big stuff. She's like, it is the red Chainsaw Man that you want to defeat. And they're like, a red Chainsaw Man? And she shows a picture of Pochita, like the actual Chainsaw Man. He's got like the intestine scarf and everything. She's like, this is the black Chainsaw Man, right? Or at least the regular Chainsaw Man. I think that's what they're going with. The black Chainsaw Man is like our Chainsaw Man. The red Chainsaw Man is the fake Chainsaw Man. Or something like that. You guys can let me know because I'm not fully sure because this is Pochita that she's showing. She isn't showing a picture of the fake student. She's showing Denji, or at least the body that Denji was in. So she's like, the black Chainsaw Man and the red Chainsaw Man, they are not the same person. But Fami also says something really interesting too. She's like, I'm not really surprised, like we didn't really realize who it was because us sisters, we don't have any interest with human faces or devil faces. And this sort of brings me back to when Denji was talking about how Makima can't really see people or like remember their faces. And like she only remembers their scents and all that. So I just think that maybe all the horsemen or all the sisters, they just have a power to like just smell like different identities and like know people based on their scents like dogs. So it could be really interesting, but I'm also not really sure because it's implied. It could easily be a thing where they all can smell stuff. It's sort of like confirmed that all three of them have this power, Fami, Yoru, and Nayuta. Because Makima already talked about how she can smell stuff and she remembers people by their scent. Fami just talked about it here about how we sisters, so it has to be confirmed that Yoru can do it too. And Yoru also like knew right away Nayuta was control and stuff, so I'm just guessing that she smelt her. So it just seems like they can smell people, and it's really weird because like, doesn't Denji like smell bad? Like, wouldn't they think that Denji like smells really bad? Like, it's sort of funny because wouldn't they think Denji like smelled bad as fuck? Like, I wonder what Makima thought Denji's smell was. Like, well, she didn't really smell Denji for Denji. She was smelling the Chainsaw Man, but I wonder if he smelled like shit because, that's sort of his personality. No, but either way, Fami's like, if you want to fight the black Chainsaw Man, so our regular Chainsaw Man, you'll need to turn the red Chainsaw Man like back into a regular human. Okay, I did just realize something because they're talking about how if you want to fight the black Chainsaw Man, you're going to need to turn the red Chainsaw Man back into a human. And I guess the black Chainsaw Man that they're talking about is Pochita. The red Chainsaw Man is Denji. At least that's what I'm getting. Or like at least their consciousnesses. Because when Pochita is in charge, he was wearing that like intestine scarf. When Denji's in charge, he's just the Chainsaw Head. And that's the Chainsaw Man that saved Asa. And Fami keeps talking about how this Chainsaw Man that Asa wants to save and the Chainsaw Man that Yoru wants to fight are two different things. And like, if you want to fight one of them, you're gonna have to turn Denji back into a regular human so that Pochita is back and like out and about. So I was sort of confused earlier about that because I had read the chapter and I was thinking like, oh, the red Chainsaw Man's the fake Chainsaw Man. But no, because they talk about how later that he's a fake. Like Fami literally says to Oz's face, that Chainsaw Man is a fake. So it's interesting because they're talking about turning Denji back into a regular human so he can just really live his normal life with Nayuta. But in reality, Denji really doesn't want to turn back into a regular human. It's interesting. So Asa takes back control. She's like, why should we even trust you? Like, you masterminded all that shit in the aquarium. You're pulling all these strings. You're like a puppet master out here, bro. Like, in this Chainsaw Man church stuff, it's really fucking weird, bro. It's like a cult. And then, also, can you close my fucking fridge? And I love that. Fami's been holding the fridge open this entire time. Like, she asked if she could, like, use the fridge, like, go into the fridge. She didn't get an answer, and she just still went in because that's Fami. She's the GOAT. But this is where Asa asks, yo, is that Chainsaw Man on TV a fake? And Fami's like, yes, he is. Like, he's just a double so that we can protect the real Chainsaw Man. And I don't understand how that protects him. Like, obviously, Fami has her own reason. But in reality, this is hurting Denji. Like, his mental health is in the toilet, bro. Like, he is not having a good time at all hearing, like, somebody else is trying to be him. But she's like, you don't have to trust me. Fami's like, you don't have to trust me at all. Like, I'm just asking you to join the church. Like, maybe we could help you and you can just trust us a little bit. Like, we don't have to join fully. We can just maybe be friends. No, but she's like, they're honestly trying to save Chainsaw Man. And this is where some interesting stuff is happening because obviously these people are honestly trying to probably do this, but there are some that are taking advantage of this stuff. There's always like stuff like this in any organization that is trying to be helpful in any way. There's going to be somebody that's going to be taking advantage of this, or there's going to be somebody that's like in the shadows doing some deeper, darker things for reasons to just advance their personal goals or the goals of the whole group or something like that. But this is definitely a lot more than is being shown in this Chainsaw Man church. So we definitely have a lot more questions just from this chapter alone. But Fami finally leaves and Asa, she's sitting there, she's like, oh, interesting. Should we join? We leave this whole scene. I think it's a different day. And on the news, they're talking about, in other news, today in the early hours, a member of the Chainsaw Man church defeated the Carpenter Bee Devil. And I love how, like, this is throwing me back to the old Chainsaw Man, basically the start of the story when we were fighting the Tomato Devil. Like, we saw the Sea Cucumber Devil. These weird, like, obscure devils that are, fears, obviously, but they're not very strong at all. And a Carpenter Bee, I mean, bees are scary. They sting you, but obviously it's not going to be super powerful. But they're talking about in the news either way because he is a Chainsaw Man church follower, They did something great. They took out this bee that's been infesting these Tokyo apartments, and it's a female high schooler at that. She's making headlines out here. And they're talking about how in this month alone, 10 devils have been taken out just by her. And like, oh, she's a volunteer, like that's admirable. And then we have like obviously the flip side of like the idea is like she isn't getting paid to do this. Like, stop playing devil hunter. There's no reason to put your life at risk as a kid. And obviously, there's adults or people that feel that way about like almost anything. It's like, you're putting your life at risk. It's a total reasonable idea. It's like a lot of people die because of devils and like just devil attacks in the Chainsaw Man world. So obviously there's going to be a lot of people that are probably against high schoolers and all that stuff fighting against devils, but we get to see at the end of this chapter, it's really just Asa, and she's standing on top of this bee devil, I guess, Carpenter Bee Devil, and she's got this really freaking dope sword, and it's like a, I don't know, sort of like a laser type sword thing. It has like a weird like jagged blade in the end, and it's got a cool ass handle. But they're talking about like, I heard it wasn't even Chainsaw Man who defeated the Eternity Devil at the aquarium. Like, it was her. Asa Mitaka. And like someone said they saw her fighting a devil at the school too, the Justice Devil. So like there's all these people talking about how Asa is super cool now and that she's like, a badass. And all this attention is being taken away from Denji. But someone also says is like there's even a report that Asa Mitaka was at the apartment building when the cockroach devil like destroyed that entire place. And obviously, she was there getting sort of saved by Denji and running away with Yuko. But this is all like just stuff that actually happened. And like, I love how there was rumors about this, but like, where did these rumors come from? Not really many people would know who Asa was back then, if they would even remember like just a high school girl, and how would they know her name during such a traumatic event like the cockroach devil thing, where that it literally like destroyed most of the apartment building, I'm pretty sure. But either way, I'm guessing they got this information from the Chainsaw Man Church, and they had like maybe Yoshida or Devil Hunters Association people in their ranks. I'm not really sure, but we cut to see Denji, and he's watching this news broadcast, and he's like, "Asa Mitaka," and I love how he's wearing a Chainsaw Man t-shirt, bro. He's really wearing his own merch. Like, you see YouTubers that always wear their own merch, bro. He's got it on, bro. Denji fucks with it heavy, bro. And he's just like, "Asa, why are you doing this? Like, you're taking all my attention away. You're becoming the star like that I want to be as the Chainsaw Man." So this is really interesting, because Denji could definitely like sort of turn on Asa, because right now there's definitely romantic feelings from Asa to the Chainsaw Man that is Denji, that she doesn't know it's Denji. But Denji sort of romantically right now, he would, I mean, totally honest, if Asa said, "Yo, like, come back to my place right now," Denji would say yes without a doubt, even like right after seeing this, because he's a dog, bro. He got that dog in him. But either way, like, he might be going down a route where he starts to not like Asa, and she sort of likes this idea of the Chainsaw Man that's actually Denji, and she doesn't know it. And this could turn into like a weird dynamic, like where a relationship that doesn't really work out, but like it sort of does in the end of the day. I'm not sure, because Denji misinterprets, her trying to, defeat all these devils as, her trying to steal his limelight or something like that. Because, Denji's going to misconstrue this like a fuck ton, definitely. But Asa's just trying to save the Chainsaw Man so he doesn't have to go through this stuff. She hears that he wants to be a regular person, so she's going to help. He saved her a few times, and she just wants to repay him. So I just think there's going to be lots of miscommunication going on with this. So that's the end of the chapter. No break next week, so obviously that's a W. We're going to see maybe how Denji feels after this, because it seems like we're getting like a lot of setup for our next arc. Maybe an arc surrounded about like Fami and like the Chainsaw Man Church, because it's been seeming like most of the arcs in part 2 are just these short self-contained things that are gonna somehow lead into a final like fight, because it's already been seen this stuff like earlier in part 2 are being called back and drawn back in. So it might be a thing where lots of this stuff, these self-contained sort of arcs that don't have much to do with the overarching story, will finally have something to do with the overarching story. Maybe Yuko comes back somehow, or we find the reason why they killed Yuko, and then we get more introspective on like, just the stuff that's been going on, because lots of weird shit has been happening. And Fami, she's definitely sus, man. She's got too much going on and too little explanation, bro. So that's all I gotta say at the end of this one. Let me know what you guys thought of this chapter, because it was pretty good in my opinion. It's been a banger. But let me know what you guys thought in the comments. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and peace.